Two men, one night, and an encounter that would change their lives forever. October 11th, 1973. What began as an ordinary evening of fishing along the Pascagoula River in Mississippi turned into a horrifying ordeal. When Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker stumbled into the local sheriff's office, their hands were shaking, their faces pale. They claimed they had been taken by something not of this world, and what they described would go down as one of the most bizarre alien abduction stories in history. Hickson and Parker were alone on the riverbank that night, the sound of crickets filling the air, the water still and dark. They had been fishing for hours when suddenly, they heard it. A massive metallic craft hovering just above the ground, its surface smooth and reflective, pulsing with an otherworldly glow. About 30 feet long with no visible doors or windows. A faint hum vibrated through the air. A small dome protruded from the top, and suddenly, an opening appeared. Though neither man saw exactly how, it was just there, suddenly. A strange zipping sound tore through the silence. The men turned just in time to see a blinding blue light descending upon them. The air grew thick with electricity, and then they saw it. Then from the craft they came, three beings floating, moving without taking steps, as if gliding on an invisible current. They were unlike anything Hickson or Parker had ever seen. About 5 feet tall with wrinkled, almost elephant-like gray skin. Their heads were strange, bullet-shaped with no discernible eyes or mouths, and their hands, long, claw-like pincers, clicking softly as they reached out. Before the men could react, an invisible force took hold of them. Paralysis. Neither man could scream, neither man could run. Parker later recalled that, though his mind was screaming, his body refused to move, as if some unseen force had taken full control. The creatures gripped them, their pincers cold and unyielding, and lifted them effortlessly from the ground. The next thing Parker remembered, he was inside. Hickson described the inside of the craft as eerily empty, no control panels, no buttons, just smooth metallic surfaces and a strange hum filling the air. The only technology in sight was the eye. A massive, singular eye-like device hovered in the air, moving with an unnatural fluidity, scanning his body up and down. A strange sensation overtook him, like waves of energy washing through his limbs. The hum intensified, vibrating deep in his bones. The creatures remained silent, no words, no expressions. They worked methodically, as if performing an experiment. For Parker, the experience was worse. He later admitted that he blacked out in fear. When he awoke, he felt something pressing against him, a cold, metallic device probing his body. Panic overtook him, but still he could not move. And just like that, it was over. The next thing they knew, they were back on the riverbank. The craft was gone. The air was still. But nothing felt the same. Hickson turned and saw Parker standing rigid, arms stretched to the sky, frozen in shock. He was screaming, an ear-piercing, terrified wail that echoed across the delta. Something had happened to him, something neither man could explain. When they arrived at the local sheriff's department, officers expected a hoax, a prank maybe, but the men's condition said otherwise. Their hands trembled, their pupils were dilated, and there was something else. Each had a puncture wound on one arm, as if something had pierced their skin. Sheriff Glenn Ryder: "We did everything we could to catch them in a lie, but if they were lying, they should be in Hollywood." Skeptics tried to explain it away. Sleep paralysis, hallucinations, even mass hysteria. But if that were true, how did both men experience the exact same thing? And how did they pass the polygraph tests? Nearly 50 years later, the Pascagoula abduction remains one of the most well-documented alien encounters in history. Today, a historical marker stands at the very spot where the men claimed they were taken, a permanent reminder of one of the strangest nights in UFO history. So, was this a real extraterrestrial encounter, a military experiment gone wrong, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love creepy, unexplained mysteries, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories from the unknown.